Hello beautiful people of TOPWAR, welcome to an episode in which we're gonna fully dedicate it exclusively for the new army hero coming now with part 2 of Resident Evil collaboration event. That's Mr. Quiz, and in this episode we definitely have first to talk about this hero design because I already have to explain you where is the flaw in design, because the hero looks fantastic, beautiful people, but the way he looks in a march, that's a total different story. Then I'm gonna show you also in this episode which are the best two heroes which you can combine with Quiz. And then we're gonna take that setup and test it versus the beautiful setup of the tanks, which is the magnetic pulse one, in order to see which one is best and in order to take the conclusion which setup is better, and basically at the end of the episode actually even taking the conclusion on the hero itself. So let's start with the hero design. This is an offense buffing hero exclusively for tanks, and you see here you're getting 105% attack enhancement. This will get even higher depending how many war points you have, because for every 100 war points, you're gonna get a 0.05% extra attack enhancement. And when we have a look at his passive skill, the big question is, should we start right now to label this as a hostile tank march? Because the other setup is the magnetic pulse. Well, this video is gonna reveal it. And let's start with the first sentence and pay attention. Maybe you have noticed already where the design flaw is. Because when this hero is deployed in your march, it increases the hostile effect or counterattack damage of all heroes, that's the plural, by 30%. Well, where exactly is the problem? Let's click on the hostile effect. And while the hostile effect, or aka these two bullets you see from heroes like Leon or from heroes like Snake Eyes, like even Mr. Pollock, those are stacking and you get this damage increase. The big issue is another one. Using plural there for the time being is actually a mistake, because if you are using Snake Eyes and if you are using Leon in this case, only the bullets coming from Leon will gonna count, meaning in other words, the bullets from Snake Eyes will not gonna count and you're still only gonna have 2 bullets. So that's the big issue, and that's gonna be the main argument while the march will gonna perform the way it will gonna perform. So let's go back to Mr. Quist in order to finish the design evaluation. The passive skill will gonna increase the hostile attack of heroes, and if the target which gets hit by your missiles or this hostile counterattack is below 30%, then you get an additional 50% damage on top. And this is gonna get even crazier when we are having a look at level 7 exclusive skill. But you know what? Let's first have a look at the level 5 exclusive skill, because level 3 is not worth to talk about. And reading this level 5 exclusive skill definitely shows me that this hero definitely kind of needs this level 5 exclusive skill, because not just only that the hostile attack will gonna be increased by 25%, well, on top of this you actually have a chance to use the missile and still get to keep it. So if we take an example for Mr. Leon or Mr. Snake Eyes, from the level 5 perspective, you have 2 bullets for each of these slots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which makes 12 bullets, and you have a chance actually to use up to 18 bullets. And that's what makes the level 5 exclusive of Quiz kind of super valuable. But the level 7 actually goes even crazier. Well, you get another 45% increase on this hostile effect, and the passive effects required in order to get an extra damage increase on the counterattack is going to be lowered, because by default your target must be below 30%, and with the level 7 the target must only be under 50%. So it's definitely a damage increase because you can get it far sooner. Good, so this is the way Quiz looks like. But in which march configuration can we use Quiz? So for that I have done my tests. So first of all, you're going to see 10 attacks in which the magnetic pulse setup, which is Binary, Marvy, and Quilly, will gonna be the attacker, versus the so-called hostile type of setup, which is Quiz. In this case, I'm using Striker and together with Leon. Well, obviously you can use Duke also in here, also a great alternative. And after we have a look at this performance, then we're gonna switch. We're gonna put this hostile setup as an attacker and having the magnetic pool setup being the defender. And there is one more important thing I have to show you, because we definitely have to talk about the runes, because with this hostile type of setup and these heroes with passive skills, you're kind of forced to use certain runes. Not all the runes were gonna work. So how have I set up my marches? So obviously we are looking now at the magnetic pool setup, and if we have a look at binary, well, I'm using the artillery storm, though on the lowest level possible, because indeed I have one, and then the rest is basically magnetic pools. When it comes down to Marvi, yes indeed I'm using an unbreakable rune, also on minimal level, because I have one. Other than this, everything else is magnetic pools, and when it comes down to Quilly, everything else are magnetic pools runes. But when it comes down to the setup for the hostile effect, well, we're gonna go run into some troubles, because Quiz doesn't have any active skill, and neither Leon. So the problem is here, I'm gonna use the same artillery storm, but if I were to put the magnetic pools runes on Quiz or on Leon, this is equivalent to not putting those runes at all. So I'm kind of forced to use the damage increase and damage decrease, and you also see that I'm using the lowest levels possible, which is kind of more realistic. When it comes down to Striker, it has literally the same rune setup as Marvi, with Unbreakable and the rest magnetic pools. And again, when we have a look at Leon, yeah, it literally has damage plus and damage minus, because that's the only thing which gonna work. Obviously, you can use indeed here the HP buff also works. So good, beautiful people, now to the March performance. So, under this configuration in which the magnetic pole setup is actually the attacker, while the hostile setup is the defender, from 10 attacks, well, I see a difference between these two setups of 35.7% approximately from 10 attacks, and that's basically the magnetic pole setup, which is actually better. And if we're switching the roles, and we have the hostile setup being the attacker, while the magnetic pools is the defender, well, the results aren't getting any better, because here I see also a difference at around 39%, in which again, the magnetic pool setup is actually better. So what's the conclusion on the hostile March? What's the conclusion on the hostile heroes? While I find this kind of effect pretty interesting, the main problem actually remains the way the hostile effect is actually designed, because it doesn't allow multiple heroes to stack, and maybe it would have been a far better idea if you would have lowered the hostile damage while allowing multiple hostile effects from different heroes to actually stack. So beautiful people, this is the conclusion on this awesome hero, Mr. Quiz. Obviously, if you guys would like me to do that, I can do a special video on the Resident Evil event, because we have a lot of things here like the store, and if you guys need a special video on that to give you my recommendation, talk about these events, let me know in the comments and I can certainly do one for you. And basically, even though we have not seen us in a while, beautiful people, around like 2 weeks now, I'm still here, and it's still worth it to support this channel, and the best way to do so is actually 100% free, because you should subscribe to this channel, obviously share this channel with your friends, watch the videos till the end, beautiful people. Thank you very much for watching, and I will gonna catch you in the next awesome episode. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Hello beautiful people!